Hello everyone, we are continuing on with our NHL team season previews, and today we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Wild. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and you want to support me along the way. I want to do this as a full-time career, so if you want to support me, subscribe, hit the sub button, and if you're not so sure yet, that's alright. Let's talk about the Wild. Minnesota is coming off of an awesome regular season, going 53-22-7 for a franchise record 113-point season before losing that momentum against the St. Louis Blues in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where they lost in 6 games. The offseason has been an anxious time as well for the franchise, as they were unsure if star player Kirill Kaprizov was going to be able to return to the States after we've seen some things happen in Russia with guys being drafted, all that stuff, players wondering if they'd be able to leave the country. But breathe easy, he is back in the US and they can focus on the season ahead. So what are some of the storylines for this team, and what should their expectations, or at least my expectations for them, be? Let's talk about it. One of the bigger storylines here will be around Matthew Boldy and Marco Rossi. It's no secret, the Wild have one of the best prospect pools in the league, and they are going to need these guys to start stepping up and filling in for them going forward. Last year, both of the players I mentioned with Boldy and Rossi played in the NHL. Boldy had 47 games and Rossi had 2. Both, of course, have been taken pretty high up. I think Boldy was taken 10th, maybe 11th overall, and Rossi was taken 9th in the 2020 draft and are projected to hit the opening day lineup as of right now. That's no surprise, but I am very excited to see how this year goes for them. Boldy was actually really impressive last season, especially on the scoring end, with 15 Genos in 47 games played, which would put him on pace for a 26-goal season in a full 82-game span, which would have actually been more than Tanner Jeannot, who was the rookie leading scorer in the NHL. He played, of course, on the Nashville Predators. He had 24 goals in 81 games played. Now, I am a little bit worried for Boldy that he could struggle a little bit more this year, because he played a lot of minutes with Kevin Fiala last season, and they were really, really good together. They actually outscored opponents 47-22 when they were out on the ice. And I guess the good news is that he'll be playing with Frederick Gaudreau on the third line as of right now, and they played a lot of minutes together last season. The only thing is, it seems like Freddie really did drag Boldy's numbers down last season, and I would hate to see Boldy, a young guy, kind of be hindered in that way. It's also a little worrying. He'll be playing next to Tyson Jost, who also dragged his numbers down a bit last season. However, I will say with Jost, he played just 17 minutes with him, so I can't really, go off of 17 minutes in a whole 47 games played and say this is how it's going to be. But I am a little scared if Boldy would be expected to bolster the third line with guys that are really holding him back. The good thing about our sport is that the lines get changed all the time and in-game adjustments happen, so this might not be the end of the world. In my opinion, though, if Boldy doesn't come out firing and having just a great year like he did last year for his rookie year, then we could say, who is he playing a lot of minutes with, and is this a good reason or a big cause for him to not succeed as to what we saw last year. Now, I'm pretty high on what we have to see from him, so regardless, I think we're still going to get some good play. As for Rossi, man, it has been a journey for this guy. He had a heart complication from the spicy cough. Of course, the video could get in trouble for doing that for whatever reason, to hurt the algorithm. But we were really concerned about Rossi dying at age 19. He was actually so concerned that he would tell his parents every night before he went to bed, "I'm afraid of dying in my sleep. Please, can you sleep in my room?" And they did, at least as far as I know. He has since bounced back from that and got a taste of NHL action this season, playing 2 games and averaging a little over 15.5 minutes in that small stretch. The Austrian saw 63 games in the AHL last season, with 53 points in that time, 18 being goals. He really has just got a chance to be hungry, appreciative, of where he's at, being able to live, but now getting a chance to get his feet set and then try to make it on this roster and be the guy that they drafted him to be, a first-round talent. Now, he doesn't need to expect the weight of the world on his shoulders right now, but if we as fans in the franchise can get a glimpse of what we think he could be in the world's best hockey league, this would be a good thing to watch out for the 2023-24 season, as well as helping his team. Now, And if you want to look at it though, this team could use more scoring depth as well. And with loss of Fiala, that would be the interesting thing here. You know, Fiala especially was a guy that was third for goals last season, and they are going to need these two to pan out if you're set for not only now, but in the future. Last year, we got to see a different perspective too, though, and this is a storyline that I want to talk about for my second storyline about the PK. Now, the PK was 25th in the league for the 2021-22 season, and this could be a problem this year. And how could it be? Well, a big issue is if they spend as much time on it as last season. They actually averaged the fourth most average time on ice, a man down last year, and it was a point where they allowed the 8th most shots against per 60 as well. Kind of a weird situation all around, as they didn't give up or have a great save percentage on the PK, but they also didn't face a lot of high danger chances against shots, but they also faced quite a bit of medium danger chances per 60 in that time. So they weren't giving up, you know, these shots, a bunch of shots just down low, but they did give up quite a bit of shots, good shots out on the wing. So that could be a problem again. And you'd have to say, if I had to point the finger, I don't like to point the finger, but if I did, two guys are on their team that were in the top 10 for major penalties last year, as well as top 20 for total penalties. I'm looking at you, Ryan Hartman, Mr. 4th in the league for total penalties. Although, to be fair to him, while he did have 39 penalties, I think he did draw 35. Still though, he had 10 major penalties last season, so you get the majors, that's not going to work, and that is going to be something they have to keep an eye out for. And I believe Fleury was the other one that had some penalties here. As for their goalies, Marc-Andre Fleury and Philip Gustafsson were not lights out in net when their team was a man down, so that is a little concerning as well. And that right there, if you are on the PK a lot and it's looking the same as last year, that could be a thing that hinders them. I really do think that. But it brings us to our other situation, which is the storyline in net. This year, it's the legend Marc-Andre Fleury who's going to be the starter for Minnesota, or at least the expected starter after being acquired from Chicago in a trade last season. He's 37, and he does have some wear on the tires, but he's going to be playing behind a Minnesota team that had the 11th best Corsi for percentage, shots for per 60, shots against per 60, 9th best shooting or shots for percentage, 2nd best scoring chance against per 60, high danger chances against per 60, 4th best medium danger chances against per 60, and 3rd best expected goals against per 60 average at even strength. So yeah, this could be something where Fleury might not be a star in Chicago, but guess what? You go on over to Minnesota, they play really good at even strength, you can put up good numbers. And that is kind of my basis of what we could see this season. And it might not be all on the veterans' shoulders as well, as Gustafsson might have not posted earth-shattering numbers in Ottawa over a long span, but who really has in their rebuild as a goalie? You've had a lot of goalies go in there, kind of get run through a buzzsaw. He, though, I think with Minnesota, he is youngish. I think he's like 25, and he is in a new team that is much better suited for the defensive end compared to what we've seen in Ottawa. Could be able to either give Fleury rest or, dare I say, even be the starter at some point in this season. It really just depends on how both of these guys play, but maybe he could fill in and Fleury could get some critical rest, be the 1B backup type goalie, and be in a good spot physically and mentally for a playoff push if they decided to need him. So, having talked all about this though, what do I think the Wild's expectations should be for this season? In my opinion, personally, I'm going to say I see them making the playoffs. Not only that, I feel like they could finish top 3 in the Central, as their ability to dominate at even strength is hard to get against or to get going against offensively if you're the other team. Am I worried about some things? Yeah, I mean, of course, if they're on the PK that much, that's not good. Ryan Hartman also had a career year in terms of goals scored, I believe, last season. Who's to say that he repeats that? The blue line has some questions, most notably being, where is Dumba going to go, and what is their return going to be? It seems like Dumba's probably on his way out after playing 500 career games with his new team, and that is concerning. On top of that, the situation in net, you've got a guy that has struggled at times in his career in Fleury, that is older, and Gustafsson, that is, of course, not really had a chance to prove himself and might not be a great goalie. It just depends. Also, it doesn't help that they have Zach Parise's contract and Ryan Suter's contract as well, counting towards the cap, at least to my knowledge. I think that comes off the books for the 2025-26 season, so if it is actually counting against them for the cap, that is big because, of course, you can't really make a lot of moves if things are not working out until that comes off the books, so we'll see. I mean, who wouldn't want to give out 13-year deals? Because they always work out. Right, Chuck Fletcher? But anyway, I digress. This team is good enough, though, in my eyes, to probably get second or third. There's a team that we all probably have a good idea is going to get that first spot. But I think at the same time, while we could see them get into the playoffs and make a run, we could also see them go in the playoffs and flame out in the first round, or possibly even miss it if some things go a different way. The Wild are, well, wild, after all, in the state of hockey. So who knows what will happen? What are your expectations for the Minnesota Wild this season? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to subscribe if you like this video. And then, of course, like the video as well. Everybody stay safe, have a great night, and Eagle of Hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.